It takes wrapping your head around the way of thinking of Git, like working tree versus stage versus commit, and what's an indent and what's a head. And that's, again, the very basics. However, yes, Git, common tool for all developers, whether you use Rust because C++ sucks, or write Python because you're too afraid of real languages. And yet, it keeps failing us. Have you ever wished there was a better way to interact with it than just CLI and clunky outputs? Well, you're not alone. I am Bosco Domingo, Senior Software Engineer, and have been working with Git for close to 10 years now. And recently, the age-old debate about Git was reignited in the Primogens podcast, The Stand Up, where Casey Muratori went into a long rant about it, and obviously that sparked debate, as well as Thea then reacting to it.
You have to, my opinion is that this discussion is why all this stuff is so freaking ridiculous. Like, the fact, your job is to program a computer. You're supposed to be spending your mental energy figuring out how to make good programs, right? And instead, 25% of every programmer's brain now is occupied with things like, should I merge or rebase? That even the fact that that is something that is now a discussion means this was a failure.
In my opinion, Git is hard, or at least unnecessarily so. And let me break down why. Spoiler, I'll give you some nice Git log alternatives that I'm 99% sure you'll prefer over the basic Git log output. So for starters, the basics are really deceptively simple to understand. Oh, I can do work, create save point, go back, throw away my work, and be fine because it's all saved, right? And the best thing of all is that I can do this in parallel with others. That's the basic idea. However, understanding even some of the most basic concepts, right, is already hard in and of itself. It takes wrapping your head around the way of thinking of Git, like working tree versus stage versus commit, and what's an indent and what's a head. And that's, again, the very basics. The moment you get into anything slightly more complex than the very golden path, combinatorial explosion. Out of nowhere, you just have hundreds of terms, and the glossary just grows exponentially. All these things that are insane, especially imagine yourself being a junior engineer now, right? Having to learn all these other topics and all these other things. And on top of that, you throw the version control system, right? The thing that you should just be able to, click save and have it save, right? All of a sudden that becomes a problem in and of itself, and something that you have to become skilled at, becoming skilled at saving files. I don't know. Even if you're senior, if you get into a detached head state, when you're in your terminal and it says detached head, it's oh shit, you're in for a treat. It shouldn't be like that. In essence, it's just way too easy to get to a point where if you're not careful, you could lose your work. Which is against the whole point why Git was created in the first place. Second, I don't know about you, but I personally think that the bare bones Git log is an absolute joke. At the bare minimum, you need to add extra stuff to make it even remotely readable, right? Compare this to this or that. And those two, by the way, I'm going to drop in the description or the comments below if you want them. Feel free to look down. They should be there. And that's just bare Git, right? Which is already fairly lacking. If you look at this or this, it's a completely different world. So the bare UI from Git is just lacking. It's not enough. And you practically need an external third-party tool to show you the graphical UI that you should have gotten with Git from the start. And this just shouldn't be the case. And these are just two examples. I'm more than happy to do a deeper dive into all the Git graphical tools. I may do that in the future. Feel free to drop a comment below, if you want to see that. So yeah, the Git UI is bad. Another one is just the friction when working with others. For starters, when you get other people's code, right, when you see their changes, what do? Do you just merge them into your own branch? Do you rebase your own branch? Do you cherry pick? Or can you even revert to a different there's too many possibilities to do the same thing, and each one has its own intricacies and things that you should know. When merging, do you do a squash merge or do you do the regular one? It's too much. These are things that people should not have to know to get started with Git. Especially since they are probably, if they're just getting started in Git, right, working with other people that are probably showing them the ropes. So they're probably going to come across those problems. How do you teach a person to get out of those? Right? It is too complex. Your version control system should not be in the way of your work. And of course, expect conflicts to happen, right? It doesn't matter how you're doing your work, if you're merging or rebasing or whatever, you're going to get conflicts. And once again, the Git tools are so bad. I've not met a single engineer who didn't use an external merge editor. Because it's just like, come on, all the characters in there, just like, what is that? Let's be honest, it's not good. It's not how it should be. And that's just 3 examples of all the many things that Git got wrong. Let's be honest, it was created at a time where, even Linus himself said it. It was just like, I'm doing this for myself. He never meant it for it to grow as much as it did. So I understand why it got to this point. But I do believe that we deserve something better, or at least something that is simpler in essence. The good thing about it is that there are other tools that are coming up that are either based on Git or just want to do away with Git altogether. I'm excited to see how they evolve and what they eventually become. I can do a deeper dive on those other alternative tools or workflows that differ slightly from the basic Git workflow. If you want, again, comments down below. Happy to do a deeper dive on those. But yeah, that's going to be it from my side. Thank you kindly for watching. I didn't want to make this video too long. It's the first one I've ever made here on YouTube for this channel. So, I would love to hear your opinions, your feedback on how I did, as well as I'd love to know how you use Git. Have you run across any of these problems? Are you, using something else like Subversion or Mercurial? Are there any tips you would like to share? Any aliases that you have that you think would be very useful? Or just, what's your opinion on Git and the current state of it? I'll be coming up with new videos very soon, so please do subscribe to see them. Until then, think, design, and then code. And obviously, don't forget to have a life too. And I will see you on the next one.